I don't think it can work like that for me. When you're on this journey to get closer to God in every aspect, I took a look around and I thought, the next time I see this place, I will have completed the Last Supper in the Garden of Gethsemane. And I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was like...
The Chosen's new season is shaping up to be the most emotionally intense yet, and all attention seems to have shifted to Jonathan Roumie.
Do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul.
Set to dive deep into Passion Week with raw human storytelling and a reverence for the sacred moments of Jesus' final days, Roumie, who played the role of Jesus, has opened up about the spiritual weight and emotional depth behind the season, but there seems to be more that the actor is reluctant to share. Join us as we uncover Jonathan Roumie collapsing as a miracle happens during the filming of the Passover scene of The Chosen. The Passover scene of The Chosen, written and directed by Dallas Jenkins and titled The Chosen. Last Supper, the new season, chronicles the exaltation of Jesus Christ's Palm Sunday entry into Jerusalem, followed by his betrayal, arrest, and final meal with his disciples the night before his crucifixion. As we see Jesus' journey closer to the cross, viewers can expect a whirlwind of emotions in what's being dubbed the Last Supper season. From Jesus' righteous anger displayed at the temple with his flipping of tables, Judas's betrayal, and the iconic First Communion, some of the Bible's biggest moments are on display in this new season. However, with Jesus set to go through a roller coaster of emotions and experiences in the new season, Jonathan Roumie, the actor playing the role of Jesus, seems to be in a tight spot. Having embodied the role of Jesus throughout 5 seasons, the actor didn't hesitate to admit he had been feeling lost. Portraying Jesus has so far been the hardest thing he has done in the course of his career as an actor, and with the story progressing towards Jesus' most trying moments, Roumie has found himself struggling to find his footing in all of it, until recently when things took an unexpected turn. In an interview with Charisma magazine, Roumie carefully explained an encounter he had while filming, which had left him both in awe and empowered to take on the difficult task in front of him. But that was just the beginning. In the course of filming, Roumie had developed a habit of taking things to God in prayer, just like his character Jesus had done. And in one of those moments of seeking clarity from the Lord, Roumie found himself having an encounter with the Lord instead. One thing Roumie has done ever since he got cast in the biblical drama was to share his experiences, his thoughts, and most importantly, his beliefs.
That wasn't politics, that was spirituality. You can't cherry pick the aspects of your faith you like and dispense with the things you don't like. You said it yourself, I came not to bring peace, but to bring a sword.
The actor believed transparency was the best approach to something as important as portraying Jesus Christ. Speaking to Charisma magazine, Roumie spoke about how his view of Jesus' sacrifice and experience starting from the Passover scene was made clear when he visited the Holy Land. Although Roumie gets to walk on Holy Land every day while filming the biblical drama, he was fortunate to visit the actual Holy Land, and what an encounter he had. From seeing the place where Peter denied Jesus 3 times, to walking the same route Jesus had taken to the Last Supper and then afterwards, down to the Garden of Gethsemane, it was a life-changing experience for the actor. Having struggled with uncertainty on how to better portray a man he never got to meet, but a man who turned out to be the most important person in history, actually seeing history unfold in front of him was nothing short of overwhelming for Roumie. Author and speaker Jeff Calvin was the one who led an awed Roumie down the stairs Jesus took, and the actor even had a moment where he sat on steps. The same steps which were made of Roman stones, which Jesus climbed to the upper room during the feast of the Passover. Roumie recounted how he stood in a spot, soaking in the information he had just received, completely in awe that he was standing where Jesus had stood all those years ago. Almost as if led by the Spirit, Roumie said he turned to Calvin and told him he had to walk barefoot on the stones. Calvin watched quietly as Roumie took off his shoes and walked up the path Jesus had walked back in his time. Still speaking to Charisma, Roumie mentioned how that encounter changed his perspective on the life and trial of Jesus Christ. The encounter was so great that he had fallen to his knees in awe while filming, thanking God for the opportunity to play such a huge part in the plan of the Almighty. Having prayed for guidance and a better understanding of the role he was playing, the visit to the Holy Land was an eye-opener for Roumie. With his newfound confidence in himself, and of course God, Roumie believes he would once again be able to successfully portray the encounter Jesus had at the Feast of Passover, and through him, people would come to understand the life of Jesus Christ better. Roumie said he knows God has placed him in this position for a very specific reason, and reflected on the many ways The Chosen is inspiring lives across the world. According to him, the impact that the show has been having on people around the world has been mind-blowing, and so he feels he just has to trust in that and just honor that. Also, all he could try to do was to focus on the best that he could give and just keep working on ensuring he puts in everything he could bring to the most important role of his career. To accurately portray Jesus, he had to embody the qualities and life of Christ himself. Living like Jesus might be the goal of every believer, but for someone like Roumie, who has had to be the representation of Jesus in the modern day, living like Jesus has become a lifestyle change for him as he makes moves to head towards his most challenging scene yet, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Stay tuned, because this next part is sure to keep you glued to your screens. The crucifixion of Jesus Christ in Chosen. Jonathan Roumie, the actor who plays Jesus on The Chosen, appears to be gearing up for the brutal acting challenge of filming the crucifixion scene for Season 6 of the biblical drama. As filming continues, Roumie is opening up about the emotional and physical toll of portraying the life of Jesus, especially as the story approaches its most pivotal and painful moments. Speaking to reporters during the K-Love Fan Awards on Sunday night, Roumie revealed how the scene would be the most difficult thing he has ever done, and how the season would most definitely be the most difficult one yet.
We're doing because of the weight of the story, the importance of the story. You know, it's not fiction, it's truth, it's fact, it's spirit and truth. The Word, the Word made flesh.
He went on to add that not only was the role and season difficult, but he felt that much physicality was expected. Having to portray Christ's suffering and death, his passion would pose more challenges to him as a performer and a believer of Christ. The actor had previously spoken on the pressure and emotional toll of preparing to play Jesus in the crucifixion scene during a live-streamed conversation with actor Chris Pratt in March. He also mentioned the drama of the 5th season and the kinds of things that happen in the season, which were things that had never happened before, nor have many of the scenes even been filmed before. According to Roumie, the 5th season of The Chosen was set to cover Holy Week, while in the 6th season, viewers would see the crucifixion of Christ depicted on screen, but here's where things start to get very interesting. Speaking to Pratt, Roumie revealed that he was preparing to get crucified before filming started for the 6th season of the series. Although he was feeling a little bit of pressure about filming the crucifixion scene, Roumie confessed he intends to put his complete trust and faith in God throughout the process. According to the actor, he was looking forward to not just the process, but the opportunity to try to experience a little bit of the Lord's passion in a very controlled way, and to kind of bring that to the world in a way that maybe reinvigorates the people's relationship with the crucifixion, with Jesus, and maybe ignite their relationship with Jesus. If the show compels somebody to want to engage in the story and engage in the person of Christ in some way, then to Roumie, it was probably the most important work he'd ever do as an actor, the most lasting thing, the most impactful role that he would ever play. Also, in a recent interview with Charisma magazine, Roumie talked about how he had been training specifically for this coming season. Due to this, there has been a lot of self-sacrifice to bring his idea of how he wants Jesus to feel and look for Season 6. Roumie didn't hesitate to voice out once again that the whole process had taken a toll on him, but he wouldn't have it any other way. As The Chosen nears its most powerful scenes, the actor's commitment to authenticity and spiritual surrender continues to inspire fans around the world. In a time when faith-based media is making a significant cultural impact, The Chosen continues to stand out as a beacon of hope and inspiration. With its new season on the horizon, fans are eagerly anticipating the return of Jonathan Roumie, whose portrayal of Jesus has captivated millions around the globe. Perhaps one of the most shocking things about Season 5 isn't even the show, but those who are showing interest in The Chosen, including none other than the ladies from the controversial talk show, The View. When asked by Sunny Hostin about what brings Jesus to a place of righteous anger in the latest season, Roumie graciously responds by giving insight into the historical element of what it would have been like during the time of the Roman Empire and the Pharisaical Jewish leaders. He linked Jesus' actions to making a stance against hypocrisy within the temple establishment. Seeing religious leaders subvert the meaning behind and the practices of his faith and extort the poorest of the poor was what triggered him to act the way he had acted, and not out of hatred towards anybody. Roumie also talked about how living out his faith is key for playing Jesus and for growing as a person. It comes down to making sure that he's right in his relationship with God, which means acting out his faith and actively putting that faith into practice in his role as Jesus. As The Chosen, Last Supper release approaches next week on March 28th, Roumie hopes the series continues to stir hearts and build bridges. As Roumie ventures out to secular venues like The View and even Jimmy Fallon, he is reminding us all that Jesus wants the hearts of all. While Roumie is not the first actor to portray Jesus on screen, he says The Chosen differs from anything else that's come before. In an interview with QGuest host Garvia Bailey, Roumie talks about how we get to see a deeper glimpse into the fullness of the humanity of Jesus as a character. As Christians, we believe that Jesus was both fully human as well as fully divine, and most of the depictions in cinematic history tend to focus on the divine and the mystical side of Jesus, the ethereal aspect, with a very nominal, at best, amount of his humanity thrown in. However, Roumie believes his depiction of Jesus in the biblical drama would better reflect the life of Jesus Christ while he was on earth and lived amongst us, but it doesn't end there. Jonathan Roumie's experience playing Jesus. For someone like Jonathan Roumie, who has skyrocketed to the top because of one act, big roles often come with a lot of pressure, and playing a holy figure like Jesus took that to a whole other level. Roumie remembers being conflated with his character during a fan interaction, when they expressed their hope that he could heal them. In an interview with CBC, Roumie recounted a strange experience he had encountered while at an event with Pastor Greg Laurie, a well-known evangelical pastor in Southern California. According to Roumie, he was getting ready to leave after the event ended when security walked up to him to inform him he had a guest waiting outside for him. As someone who had gained so much popularity from his role as Jesus, Roumie felt it was one of those usual meetings except for the fact that the woman had a son with her who was in a wheelchair. After agreeing to meet the woman and her son, Roumie realized that the son had a condition that left him largely incapacitated and unable to move from the neck down. The mother told Roumie that their favorite scene from the show was from an episode in Season 1 where Jesus heals a paralyzed man, and here's where things took a different turn. Roumie said he listened quietly as she added that that scene was both their favorite and that they had come wanting to hear him speak. Without averting her gaze, she voiced out that she had thought to herself that it would be great if God could heal her son just like he had done in the Bible. Roumie recalled how he had stood there, staring at her as thoughts ran through his mind. He kept questioning himself inwardly if he had maybe given her the impression that he could do such a thing, or if she believed he was the same Jesus who had done those things he acted up in the film. The only thing he could muster in that slightly awkward silence was an agreement that indeed it would be amazing, but he didn't have such a gift, and all he could do was pray with her. The woman stared at Roumie for a long time, before mumbling out a soft response, and in that moment, Roumie confessed that he just burst into tears. He could tell she must have been disappointed, but it was something he couldn't live up to. He wasn't Jesus Christ. He was just an actor privileged to act the role of Jesus. Roumie said playing a figure like Jesus, the ultimate role model of humanity, sets an impossibly high standard that he can't live up to as an actor. The best he can do is to try and follow his example. The 50-year-old actor says that when he first signed on to the historical drama 5 seasons ago, he hardly expected the show to become what it has, with 280 million viewers. Speaking with People, Roumie revealed that when he initially did 4 episodes of this crowd-funded show that nobody thought would go anywhere, it was an opportunity just to put this story out there.
Play Jesus in a TV show called The Chosen. Yeah, and now it's being released worldwide. And there's over 200 million episodes that have been watched in the series.
Once the show took off, Roumie seized the opportunity and ran with the vision. Although he didn't know much about what was going to happen or how it was going to work, he knew it was an opportunity. Eventually, as he got to spend more time with the character and the person that he loved, he started to notice that his life had changed, and it made him want to be the best version of himself on a daily basis. The Jesus Revolution actor also revealed that it wasn't his first time portraying Jesus, and he believed God had given him a lot of practice runs at it. He had initially done 3 short films with the Chosen creator Dallas Jenkins, staged a passion play at his local church, and even as an 11 or 12-year-old, he built a life-size cross in his backyard and reenacted the Jesus of Nazareth miniseries, but that's not all. However, it didn't dawn on him that that might be unusual for a child, but to him, it just seemed like this was how he got closer to Jesus. According to Roumie, his portrayal of Jesus has had a deep impact on others too. He told People that the reactions have been profound, and he even just met somebody whose friend was suffering from anxiety to the point where they stopped driving. They didn't leave their house. They didn't even go out. But as they started watching the show, something started to change within them, and their faith grew, and this lady started going out of her house again, and now she's driving again, and she credits that to the impact that the show had on her faith. For Jonathan Roumie, The Chosen felt like a blessing from God. About 6 years ago, the actor said that he was at his lowest point and knew that something had to change. It was then that he committed his life to his faith, and the wheels started to spin again. While starring as Jesus, Roumie has become accustomed to fan experiences where viewers of the show would bare their souls and profess their faith. Several viewers have come forward to share their life-changing testimonies with Roumie when they meet him at the in-person screenings that the show has hosted for Season 4. For many fans, Roumie is the most realistic depiction of Christ that they have encountered on screen, and especially in real life, creating a parasocial relationship that Roumie has learned to navigate. He told The Wrap that these experiences have been rewarding for him so far and even allowed him to meet the Pope. The actor added that the show, being a vehicle for that kind of grace, is just extraordinary, and he does not take the opportunity for granted. Not only has Roumie found a better life for himself by portraying Jesus, his brilliant performance has helped others to find their way to a better life. This is why, although Jonathan Roumie isn't Jesus, people believe he is the perfect representation of the most righteous man to ever walk the earth, and that is enough for Roumie. He believes he has found his calling, and with the help of God and faith in him, anything who is willing would also be able to find their footing in Christ. As Jonathan Roumie continues on his mission to tell Jesus' story through his acting, would he be able to maintain his strong belief in God, or would he eventually get overwhelmed by the demands that come with portraying such a powerful character? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You will love it.